Diva with depression.
Welcome to Breaking the Mask of Depression with me, your host, the Diva with Depression. I hope you guys are doing well today. I know that we're still in the middle of turmoil, probably added some more extra turmoil to whatever was here last time I talked to you, but we got to keep going, y'all. We got to keep going. Find a little piece of heaven, peace, a little, I don't know. I was just talking to my guest offline and we were talking about cake and stuff. So maybe you can find a little sweet treat to keep you going because we got to grab the little things. We got to get it, grab the little things. So today we're going to talk about, well, first of all, my guest today was here in March and we were talking about her experience with mental health and parentification. And we touched on living homelessness and being mentally ill. And she was so kind enough to come back so we can discuss it today in full. And I mean, her story is so just touching and full that we may end up going for a third round. But I wanted to share some Google facts. You guys know how I am with Google facts. But according to HUD, 771,000 people have experienced homelessness as of November 2024. Men still make up the majority of homeless people, but the number of women is rising significantly. 33,000 vets are homeless. 3.5 million young adults 18 to 25 are homeless a year. 700,000 young people 13 to 17 experience homelessness a year. And the cost of living and loss of services are linked to a rise in the number of homeless numbers. And we know that that's going to continue to rise because with everything that's going on, we're losing jobs, we're losing services, we're losing food services, we're losing medical services and the different, we're losing daycare services and different things like that. So I'm sure that the numbers are, let's not even talk about the rate. Oh my God, we're not going to talk about it. So I'm sure the numbers are going to go up. Approximately 580,000 people that are living as a homeless lifestyle have a mental illness. But we don't know the exact number because they don't disclose their personal information with good reason because the government do. Okay, that's a whole other Oprah show. But listen, and I have it written down in caps, but I'm going to yell at y'all. Not all homeless people have mental illness or a drug problem. That is an absolute myth, a lie, a disgusting stereotype. Okay, so if you sit around thinking that bullshit, then you're part of the. Okay, so my guest is Akashua, and she was here in March, and we are so lucky to have her back. She's one of my favorite people in the whole world. She really is because her story is so touching, but she's so honest. I mean, and I love honest people. I love honest people that love to share their story because it helps them, but it also helps the person next to them. And that's what we need more of in the Black community. So, Akashwa, thank you for coming back. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm better. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming back to be with us.
Absolutely.
It's taken a while. We keep hit or miss. We're all over the place. But both of us are our brains go and operate opposite directions, but we always seem to find each other. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we're going to start. I don't know where we're going to start at, but let's let's begin at when your bout with homelessness, because you lived in two states. You had homeless experiences in two states. So how about if we start? What state did your homeless and mental illness experience start?
So it was 3 states: Texas, New Mexico, and here, Colorado.
Oh.
And it first began when I was in Texas, in Dallas. I was still living with my mother, who I was also taking care of, and that is a whole separate thing of tragedies. But our home that we lived in for 15 years, it got foreclosed. I actually received the foreclosure letter while she was hospitalized. And that was, and so that happened. And also I should mention that my mother was a veteran. And we lived pretty close to the VA hospital. So there was even less support for her. But yeah, I was finishing my degree, and then all of a sudden, our home got foreclosed, and trying to deal with that as your like your new reality, while you're working on your education, and you're trying to deal with this insane person who,
right.
like sometimes they really don't get better.
Right.
They get worse, and they take you along with them. But we were living together, and then we would just lose everything. And so that, to go from that to then having to live with my grandmother at the time, who's living in a nursing home, and just this very, very, very tiny 1 bedroom. And my mother, she was like, I will stay at the VA hospital. I will sleep in our car in the parking lot, despite my protests for her to like not do that. But that was what she did. And so I think between the time that we lost our home to being able to get another apartment for ourselves was probably almost 2 years. Without the VA, without any help of the VA hospital, by the way, because why would they? But it was probably close to 2 years until we were able to get something.
Wow. And so that's with the three of you.
Yeah.
Or your grandma was
three generations of insane people.
Wow.
It's and something is I can kind of cackle laugh about it, because it's been like 20 years. But at the same time, it's like, 3 generations of people with you get to live with your abusers again. So that's something that doesn't get talked about.
Listen, we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
And then not only are you living with your abusers, but then you have all these people telling you that you have to honor and respect your abusers at that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So your mom is now so you're homeless and your mom needs medication. Are you diagnosed at this point? So you
No.
need medication.
Yes. Very much so.
And your grandmother too?
Very much. Oh yeah. Which, you know, if only if only at the time she believed in mental illness being a thing, but she didn't. And so yeah.
Yeah. So how does that work when you don't have a home, and how do you go about getting the proper care? Your mom has to go to the VA, which is whether you're in the perfect condition or not, the VA is a challenge. But how do you go about getting proper care when you don't have an address?
So at the time, I honestly, because it was like what was in front of me was, okay, I still have to take care of my mother. I still have to deal with her. And so I was not able to even allow myself to think about things like, okay, how do I get into therapy? How do I get, whatever that I need? Because when you've spent pretty much your life, when you pretty much have spent your life being told there's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with your mother, and to just, get on with things, even though it's like, okay, that is so not helping. But when I wasn't dealing with that, I was trying to hold on to being a student, and which I was finishing my associates at the time. But that presented its own challenges, especially, it wasn't a bad school at all. It was just I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been a student at that time. But of course, I didn't realize that, because it's like, be a good girl, go to school, stay in school, all that jazz. So.
Right. Why do we do that? Because, listen to what you just said, and this is really just a sidebar. You said it wasn't, it wasn't bad, but it was bad.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Because listen to everything that you said beforehand. Your mom is sick. Mm-hmm. You're sick. Your grandma is sick. You have nowhere to live. You're in a car. You don't have medication. And you're going to school. Mm-hmm. It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
And we still, after all of that, and just that's just like, that's on one finger. Mm-hmm. Because the biggest part of this all is we're still children taking care of our parents.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's the big umbrella that we're not discussing, and we've been doing it all our lives. Mm-hmm. That brought us here. Mm-hmm. And we're still, I'm 57. I don't know how old you are, I forgot. And I'm still saying, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be, kicking ass and taking names and telling our story, and like I said, everybody, this is really just a sidebar, because Akashwa, that's how we met. Akashwa and I talking about parentification. And this all ties together because we grew up in the same manner, taking care of our mothers. And we're still scared to tell the full story. I know I'm scared to tell the full story, but we still,
Right.
in little ways, still sugarcoat our experience by saying, but it wasn't that bad. But fuck yeah, it
Right.
was bad. Or else
Yeah.
we wouldn't have ever met.
Right.
You know? Think
Yeah.
about that. Think about that. Think about the whole conversation we had just before we pressed record. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. That's another Oprah show. I'm sorry.
Oh no. We'll at some point we'll get to once I like leave Dallas and then I move to New Mexico and try to be a student again and fall apart. Got diagnosed. That was when I got my diagnosis, and it changed from severe depression to bipolar with psychosis, and I was still trying to be a full-time student, and the housing situation managed to actually be worse. So
what was your mom's diagnosis? Remind me.
I was told when I was a kid that it was schizophrenia.
Okay.
However, there were, it certainly, it certainly could have been that. But I feel like she had several things intertwining with that. I would definitely say a lot of mania.
Okay.
A lot of she would just do things that were like, okay, where did that come from? And then there was also the depression. Like you wouldn't see her for several weeks. She would be in her room, and which is so hard because you're like this kid and you're like, okay, I still need you to do the whole parenting thing. And, so there was definitely that.
Yeah. Wow. So what made you leave Texas and go to New Mexico?
I realized, I think at the time I was like approaching 24 and, there was no hope. There was no hope that things were going to get better. When you have a parent who is deteriorating even more and they're becoming even more and more violent with themselves and with others, and you have a family that is just they stay checked out. They're not they give a rat's ass.
Right.
They're not coming to their own rescue. And
you're the only child, right?
I'm the only child.
You're the only child? Oh, okay.
Yeah, my father, who passed long before, he has other kids, but I'm the only child for my mother. Yeah.
Okay. So did you think you were leaving Texas for a better life?
I did. You know what? It was just like, I was probably thinking anything has to be better than what I've had.
Right. Yeah. So what happened when you got there?
I arrived sometime in February in Santa Fe, which was because it's in the mountains and extremely cold. It's absolutely gorgeous, but very cold and very expensive and very touristy. And my asthma was so not happy about that. But I was like,
Really?
I will make it work somehow. And I kind of did with, all of these dead end jobs. And I was like, between being on the streets and, a shelter whenever I could, those motels, those roach motels that would charge you like, $500 some for a week. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was not fun.
So you went straight from homelessness in Texas to homelessness in New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I did.
Wow. Well, first of all, let me just pause here and say to you that you possess a strength that many of us don't. Well, I'm not going to, I was told that I shouldn't say this anymore, that many of us don't have, but you possess a strength that many of us don't see in ourselves because you're still here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
because I don't know if I would have survived something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say that I would not wish that on my worst enemy, but actually I would on pretty much everyone, in the administration. So, yeah.
But I'm so proud of you, though. Like, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of, listen, let me say this out loud. I'm proud of the things that I've seen you do just in the year that I think it's a year, right? Probably that I've known you. I'm proud of the things that I've seen you do. But the more that I hear your story, and I'm not even talking about the stuff that I've read, I'm talking about the things that you've spoken to me about. I'm proud to know you. I'm honored to know you and know the things that you've done, because I don't know, like I said, I don't see myself surviving some of the things that you've done. So I bow down to you, my lady, because you're the shit.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm absolutely terrible.
And how long did?
I was going to say I'm absolutely terrible because I receive compliments. But thank you.
I'm awful
thank
at
you.
it. I think we know why. We know why. How long did you stay homeless when you got to New Mexico?
So I lived in Santa Fe for about, I want to say 8 months, and then moved to Albuquerque, which would have been like an hour away by bus, and found myself, which, let me just say, when I first arrived in Albuquerque, I did not want to be there. I didn't. Albuquerque at the time was going through this like big change. And I was like, I want to stay in Santa Fe. However, the shelter that I was staying at, the St. Elizabeth shelter for the homeless. And, you can only be there for, at that time, 30 days for the calendar year. So you can either be there for the, all 30 days, all the entire month, or take a couple of days each month. And so I used up all my time and was given a one-way ticket to go elsewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Be someone else's problem.
Now, while you're in these places and you do need medical help, do they help you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Wow. So you have these shelters here that do they know when you go in that you have, say, if you have a mental illness, that you need to be medicated? Do they know these things going in?
Um, a lot of
You have to
times,
disclose these things.
I don't, from my memory, you don't have to disclose those things.
Oh, okay.
But it's like for each shelter, because they operate independently, so they have their own rules, their own ways of doing things.
Okay.
When I lived when I was homeless here in Denver, I had to go through a few more shelters, including one with the Salvation Army, and that which I remember. They're notorious for charging homeless to actually stay there.
Wow.
So, yeah, um, I didn't think I didn't deal with the charging part um, here, but I do remember them having a shelter right across the street from Parkland Hospital in Dallas, and because I was trying to find something for myself and my mother, and they were like, okay, we want a certain amount of money for you to stay here. And I was like what? What?
Wow. Now, were you diagnosed by the time you got to Albuquerque?
No. Well, okay, so by the time I got to Albuquerque, I went to some shelter that was like really a compound. Like it was
What?
huge. Like a compound. It was a huge shelter, like well over 100 people. And
wow.
from that, I did Job Corps out of absolute desperation. I knew that they had dorms. So I was like, okay, I need somewhere to stay. So I did that. One of the worst decisions of my life. But after I was done with Job Corps, went back to college, another community college, and that was when I got my first diagnosis. So,
is there something that happened that triggered it? Or was it just everything?
I would say it was everything.
Okay.
I would really say it was everything. And yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, by this time, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So do you have to take medication at this point?
I was not medicated at that point. Not until I moved. Not until I went to university.
Okay.
And that became a whole mess of like different medications. Almost like kind of like every semester.
Wow.
I was put on something. So yeah.
I don't know how people do it. I'm not even going to say I don't know how people do it because I did it, going to work and taking medications and raising kids. But it's so hard to function taking these medications. I can't imagine being a full-time student and taking some of these medications. You can't function. Like read a book. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like what?
Yeah. And it
So
was
how do you?
it got scary a lot of times. It really did.
Yeah. Like how do you have a GPA when you have to take these Prozac? Like, because a lot of times I'm just taking medication and staring at the TV. Like,
Right.
and if you ask me what's wrong, I can't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you don't have an address and you don't have, are you working at this point?
No, like at that point I was just a full-time student. I had a studio apartment at the time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
so you're eligible for aid for your medicines and stuff.
Yeah, well, I had my financial aid until I lost that because I maxed that out, and then it was just all student loans that I was barely getting by on, and and but that was pretty much it. I wasn't working, so.
Was your mom with you by this time? And did your mom come to New Mexico also?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
She was somewhere in Dallas, somewhere
Okay.
over the rainbow. We weren't talking.
Wow. So what made you go to Denver?
An internship. So I had at that point I had been at the university probably probably 5 years, and money was running out, and I ended up leaving probably like my last year. I wasn't able to get any more assistance from the school, and so I was like, okay, not sure what I should be doing. I was, able to pick up a couple of jobs, but I still ended up like losing my place. And then I just had this, another bright idea to come out here for an internship with AmeriCorps, where I would be working in the schools. So, yeah.
AmeriCorps. Now, America, is that the same as Job Corps?
No. AmeriCorps was the one founded by JFK in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
He was like, getting communities and getting communities and nonprofits, for social good, shit like that. It's great when it actually works, but I have my own 2 cents about nonprofits.
Listen, one of my friends and I were just going back and forth about the nonprofits. Yeah, that's an off the camera conversation. I guess what I really want to know is how do you survive as someone who is diagnosed? Because I know you said that you had 2 diagnoses beforehand, but so by now, like when you're in Colorado, what are your diagnoses and like how many medications are you taking?
So I ended up getting a therapist and a psychiatrist here in Denver at the same like mental health center.
Okay.
And my psychiatrist at the time, who, yeah, he was like, I no longer see the bipolar showing itself. So he decided that, okay, it's no longer bipolar, it's just severe depression. And I was like, oh, so that's how it works? Interesting. He's not my psychiatrist anymore, by the way. So, but yeah, like that, like being out here and trying to like get my shit together was really just like unbelievable. I feel like, if I didn't go through what I went through when I was in New Mexico and in Texas, in terms of like barely surviving, I don't think I would be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much do you think that is because you're a Black woman?
Oh, yeah, to be obvious again. But but I think, it's also like, coming out here and, I'm not from here and didn't know where the resources were, if there were resources here.
Right.
Denver is huge. It's very spread out, and it can be absolutely just frightening. It can, to be disabled and to be, a Black woman, and it's just like, what do I do and where do I go and how can I not be killed?
Right. Wow. To have to think like that, it just adds more stress to your plate.
Oh, yeah.
And the misdiagnosis thing is, people don't understand how much it happens and how dangerous it is. And I had a woman on a couple of months ago that I met on TikTok, and I started following her because her name was not because, but her name on TikTok was misdiagnosed, was Bipolar Babe. And then one day she changed her name to Misdiagnosed. And I was like, but she had been gone for a couple of weeks, and I got scared that something happened to her. And it was because she almost died. She had a detox because all those years she was diagnosed as bipolar and was taking the wrong medication. And she wasn't bipolar. And the same thing happened to me. He saw mood swings.
Right.
And immediately diagnosed me with bipolar disorder, just by reading 2 words. But what he didn't understand is that for treatment-resistant depression, a mood swing starts in hell for me and goes up to 20. That's a mood swing for me. you know, but they don't pay these doctors, they don't pay attention. They hear what they
No,
want
they
and
don't.
that's it. So I tell you. Wow. So how do you get medications and services while you're living, outside?
Oh man, so I also during this time, I was experiencing a lot of hospitalizations from different hospitals, and
Oh wow.
so at the same time, I found myself I was able to start getting connected with the case manager, and
Oh,
so that was really really good, because she would, like, not only was I homeless, I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a mailing address, and so you don't think about those things until it happens, and then it's like, okay, in order for me to get this thing that could save my life, I need like a whole list of things that will allow me to save my life. And so my case manager would keep my meds because I
okay.
was, I had enough of sense to to think to myself, okay, I don't want to have these meds on me while I'm out here.
Right. Right.
And also because these meds will knock me out for several hours.
Right. Right.
I can't be out here on the streets like dead asleep.
Right.
Like that's not
Yeah.
going to work. So I
Right.
had to figure that out. Like, my case manager and my therapist, they had to, figure out something where it was like, okay, you need to take your meds, but you can't be asleep on, outside for 10 or 12
Right.
hours. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's great that you got caring people in your corner at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long did you stay homeless while you're, in Denver?
Probably almost a year. Like, just found myself,
Wow.
because my case manager at the time, she was trying to get me moved into a like temporary housing situation. And they had some, I was going to say apartments, but they actually had some different houses around Denver, where their
Okay.
mental health clients could actually stay until they were
Oh, okay.
able to find a permanent residence.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So give us, and I just want to preface this by saying that Akashwa is not a social worker. She's not an expert. She's not anything. But say that you were, okay, when you started your process in Denver, how old were you?
Probably almost 30.
Okay. So say you're a young adult and you are homeless and you are mentally ill and you are experiencing all this for the first time. What advice would you give? Like, what would be your steps?
Wow. Okay.
Somebody
So
they ran away from New York and they ended up in Denver and they got off the Greyhound bus. What are you telling
right.
them to do?
Okay. So let's see. The first thing that I would think about is be very, very careful, be very mindful of everything that you're going to take with you before even get on the Greyhound bus if you can. Because a lot of times, and then I've always seen this, other homeless people, they will literally take everything with them. Like, suitcases is almost as big as they are, all of these boxes, all of these, and you cannot do that.
Right.
You can't. And it gets even harder, especially if you have a disability or several, or you have, several chronic, conditions that require, all these medications and all of these things to keep you alive. But figure out where exactly you're going to go, where the shelter is. Be prepared. You're going to be standing in line for hours, and you may not get a bed. And so you have to, mentally and physically sort of, get ready for that. What else? Keep your phone on you. Keep your wallet on you. Don't say too much. When you're around other people, you don't always know who you're talking to, who you're conversing with. I've had a lot of times people will, because it's so lonely when you're out there. You're
Right.
so lonely. And somebody, starts chatting with you, you give them your whole life story. And
Yeah.
you have to be you have to be very careful about that. So
Now, you said that you were able to leave your meds with the counselor. Are there places like maybe like a little lockers? Have you seen that maybe someone can leave their meds and go there and take their medications, or
yeah,
like,
well,
I don't know. Have you seen
I
situations
only
where
know.
people have to take medication?
Yeah, I only know of the hospital that I go to. They have their own lockers. They have their own lockers outside of their pharmacy, and
Okay.
you can have your meds there. I but but that's a different spot than the mental health center that I
Okay.
also go to. So
Okay. Wow. So this is really a problem. This is really like a major thing. And then, people get upset and they want to blame, the breakdown and, the violence and the danger, like on the subways and in the streets. But if they don't have access, people don't have access to their medications, then what do you want from them? And
right.
one of the things that I'm very loud about is the fact that people with mental illnesses are the least violent. They rather hurt themselves than hurt other people. But
right.
You do get into some of mental illnesses that do have a higher capacity for violence, where such as schizophrenia, like they have to take their medications or else it could get violent.
Right.
But if you're living on the street and you don't have access to your medication, what are you supposed to do? There's nowhere for you to leave your medication. And if you do have someone that is living on the street that does have a pharmaceutical problem, they will take your medication. So, it's a whole circle, a whole global issue, and it's it's so much bigger than just one person. It's so much bigger than one thing, Now, how do the therapists and the psychiatrists handle working with, from what you've seen, working with the homeless population?
Oh my! Well, let me mention a couple of things since the last time we spoke, and that is our new mayor has decided to close a couple of shelters and replace them with something, some grand idea that will most likely not happen. But yeah, so there. So our mayor and whoever on his team, they have been going back and forth with trying to take some motels and turn them into shelters or turn them into apartments. And that was a financial pit that, like, the idea sounded great on paper, but I guess however that they, we're trying to put that together, it just was wasted money. It just, I think the idea was there, but it just didn't work out. And so going back to your question, and adding to that, we are experiencing, like everybody else, all these layoffs across the board from our county, and so there's definitely a seen reduction in services. The place that I have been going to, they've been having a hiring freeze for a couple of years. And so, all of these things, like, and the between the case managers and the staff, they are just beyond push to their limit because they don't have the help that they need. And it is just an unbelievable mess. Like you're really on your own. Like you're very much on your own trying to get what you need. Another example, when I got into this place where I'm at now, I didn't have any help. I got into this place on my own. I had been looking for a new place since the pandemic. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's everywhere. The company that I used to work for, they have they moved a location down there in 2001. Part of us moved to Charlotte, part of us moved there, and they completely shut down the whole location there. So I think it's about 200 people that lost their job.
Yeah, absolutely frightening.
Wow, that's horrible. And the cost of the money, the cost of our medications are going up, but they're cutting jobs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us what you were telling me some of the things. Tell us some things that you have coming up that we can support you in.
Oh, wow. So I'm not really, well, I've been trying to put together a few events once again. I do have something coming up. I need to, later this month, I need to make sure I have the details correct, but a reading event.
Well, your Substack has been very good. I've been reading your stuff on Substack. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm
enjoying
trying to
it.
be consistent. I'm trying to be consistent with it.
You're better than me, girl. You're better than me.
I'm trying to be consistent with it. I really am. Thank you. But some past events that I would really love to just bring it back for the present time. So last year I did a reading event called. I did this event at Redline Arts Center, and this was called Ibuprofen, I Love You Too. So, which is kind of, and I describe it as, it's not a thing of poetry. It's more of a short essays type thing where disability and chronic conditions meet pop culture and Black culture. So I've been having fun with that, and I would love to do that again. Because especially with the whole thing of like losing the what little health care that we have, and during these times, and all of that.
Yeah.
And just much to talk about, but I'm still trying to put some things together, so I will definitely post that information on my Substack.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep up with you because you have a lot to say. I'm going to keep you in mind for our mother-daughter episode that I hopefully, if I don't get to it this year, I'm going to, try to get it together for early January because we need to start talking about that before. I think that's a path to healing. For many of us, I'm learning that the Band-Aid has to be ripped off. Many of us, so
yeah,
I'm going to try to get that together. Trying to get the courage up to rip that off. So now I know that you said that your grandmother passed away. Is your mom still living?
As far as I know, yes.
So you completely no contact with your mom?
No contact. Yeah.
Wow. Do you know if she is healthy or not?
Well, she's in her 70s.
Wow, she's young, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing about the women in my family. They manage to somehow live. But yeah, she's well into her 70s, and I mean, her health has never been good. Not, besides the whole mental health thing, but high blood pressure and all that. So,
Do you ever wish to connect with her again?
no, it took me a very long time to be okay with that, as of like not wanting that connection anymore. And a lot of it for me is just, you know, I've had to, what I've had to go through, just trying to, pull myself up out of my own emotional toilet.
Right.
And, I self-protection is a real motherfucker. Self-preservation
really
is a
is.
real motherfucker. It just,
It's hard. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, my problem is I want a why. I don't want an apology as much as I want a why, because
Yeah.
I want to know why you brought me here if you didn't want me.
Right.
Do you want a why or do you want an apology? If you could, I know we're probably never going to get it. What would you want?
If maybe 20 years ago, I would have wanted a why. Now I don't want either. Okay. Because the why or the apology means nothing now.
Right.
So.
That's so good. All right. So I know your favorite dessert, so I can't ask you that question. Tell me what gets you through. Is it a religion? Is it spiritual? Is it like what gets you? I never ask people what gets you through life anymore. Like what gets you through the minute, the hour, what is it that keeps you going?
Something like I think there's a spite that gets me through. It's really something, because it's like, okay, it's something, and maybe it isn't spitefulness, maybe it is, but there's just this very like strange determination and just rage and whatever else, where, because I keep telling myself I have to get through this. I have to, because nobody else wants me to.
Right. I love that. I love that.
So, yeah.
It's like you bastards want to be gone, so I'm gonna stay here and ruin your fucking day.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I thank you so much for coming back on. I thank you for the information, the resources. I thank you for your light.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.
And sharing your story with the world and continue to kick ass. Okay.
I'll try.
Promise?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on one second. And everyone, I think Akachua's information is probably already on the way, but I will definitely make that to you guys can go and check her.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for listening to Breaking the Mask of Depression today, listening to Akashua, and I hope you carry yourself and peace. And that's what someone who can use information. Take care.